don't realize how limited you are when you're fat. You just don't have energy to do anything, and you just you move slower. Your thoughts are always about food, and not a good thing, and you just don't have a lot to look forward to. And then you look in the mirror, and no matter what you put on, you just don't look right. By the time I got to around 55, it was like every year it was like, what's another 5 pounds? And before I knew it, I was up to 200. And then you say to yourself, how did that happen? And in 5 years, your whole body goes from being pretty decent looking to just, you're like a whole nother person. I still have goals to get down maybe 155, but it's amazing what 10 or 15 pounds can do. And I don't think people understand that. I've talked to a friend, my massage therapist. He's lost about 45 pounds already. And he does admit, he said he just has more energy and has more mobility and he feels better. But he's frustrated too, like so many people, because he wants it to continue. But you do reach plateaus. And I've reached plateaus at different times. Like I was at 175 for a long time. And I got motivated to change it because I got noticed by Greg Damian. He has a book out called absat60.com, and he asked if I would allow him to feature me in his website. So I did that. So I had to make it more interesting. I put myself as a challenge that I would lose weight and I would improve. So that put a little bit of pressure on me. And I did get down to 165. I didn't get to the 155, which was my secondary goal, but now I'm working on it. And that's what you want to do. You have to kind of establish where you want to be and how you're going to get there. And then you have to decide, in order to get there, what do I actually have to do? What do I have to sacrifice? And I shouldn't even use the word sacrifice, because it's not really a sacrifice if you want to get to that goal. It's a sacrifice if you hate it, I think. So it's a different perspective perhaps. Even though I'm going to be 79 on my next birthday, that makes me a little nervous because I feel like I'm approaching 80, but I don't feel like it. And sometimes I don't realize I'm that old because I don't feel that old. My wife and I joke a lot of times, we think in our mind we're like 35 or 40 until we look in the mirror. And then we get a reality check. And I think that's what people don't know. You get old so quickly, and life is so short, and you need to make the most of it. As you get older, I think you start thinking, you only have so many years on this earth, and do you want to have them where you're constantly going to doctors and having health issues, or do you want to do something proactive to change it?
If I remember right, for Andy, some blood pressure issues. I think his weight was a little bit elevated. Some low testosterone, but he had the significant arthritis in his hands and his knees. And when he came to me 2009, he had already started working out, but we talked about some of those medical issues he had and tried to help him however we could. Working out and physical fitness and lifestyle changes help medical issues to a significant extent. I would say Andy's probably he's the model patient for that. He works out, as I understand, 5-6 days a week, and he's stayed with this for the entire time I've known him, I think 14, 15 years now, and as consistent as you'll ever find for a patient, and dedicated and disciplined, and then also noticing his logs of his journaling of his weight, his workouts, and the amount of weight he's using. It steadily increase over time. It's really amazing. Been impressive to see, witness. Yeah, in general with medical issues, we're monitoring blood pressure, and a patient is more motivated like Andy, then he's going to be checking his blood pressure on his own as well. But in general, stressing the heart, stressing the body decreases the tension and resistance in our arteries, and so it benefits our arteries and less blood pressure over time. So usually it's a safe endeavor, especially if someone's monitoring it. But for Andy, his blood pressure has stayed stable. And so I remember Andy came in, had severe knee arthritis, showed me a picture of his tummy and walking with a cane. And then with his working out, then his joint pains went away. It's significant prominence of his hand joints and his knees had severe arthritis, and with working out regularly 5-6 days a week, those issues went away. His pains went away. He still had the arthritis, but the pain that was there went away. And we think that by bulking up muscles around joints, then we think that the joints are gapped and there's less friction, irritation, pain. And so Andy's a great example of that. Consistent working out, bulking up muscles, pain goes away. I remember him saying when he would back off on his workouts, then his pain would start coming back. And so he's maintained this 14 plus years and has avoided surgery, avoided arthritis medications for joint pain. It's a remarkable story. And I share his story with probably almost weekly, because arthritis is so prevalent, not just the knees, but shoulders and back. When people can work out and tone up the muscles around the areas of arthritis, that bulking up muscle over time, there's less friction, irritation, pain in them, and patients do so well. And Andy's a model patient for that. It's really excellent.
It's definitely not all about being vain and looking good, but that is definitely a part of it. But the fact that you can be more mobile, more flexible, and do more things. Like I still take care of a lot of things around our house. My wife always thinks of me as the Energizer Bunny at times, because I have to be doing something all the time. And I think that's good because I have the energy to do it. But when I looked into the mirror, I saw this fat, overweight, unhealthy person. And I said to myself, it cannot be. It has to change. There was also a time I went to my son's wedding, and I took a picture, and I had this black suit on. Well, I didn't take the picture. My daughter-in-law, I think, took the picture. I had this black suit on, and I actually looked horrible in it. It didn't fit well because I didn't want to buy a new suit because I didn't want to get to the next big size, and I could barely button it, and just, you know, you feel uncomfortable when you have something that doesn't fit right. I looked terrible. Plus, when I took the trip there, it was prior to having arthroscopic surgery in my knee, and I didn't want to have the surgery because I wasn't sure if they would have to do a knee replacement. And so I postponed the surgery till after the wedding. So I had to have wheelchair assistance at the airport. I had to have a cane. I had to have assistance, and it was kind of embarrassing because I was only 64 at the time, or 63. I looked a lot older then too. And I have those two pictures, and sometimes when I post on my fitness groups, I show my before and after. I show the picture in the suit or the picture in the green t-shirt, because those are the only pictures that I have when I was fat, because I didn't allow people to take them. Sometimes you need that visual look, how you look or how people see you, to be the incentive to say, I need to change. So that was physical, but at the same time, the enormity of the health issues that were there, that was starting to get overwhelming, because any one of them could have been detrimental to my overall life, period. And I needed to change those. My daughter was just dating. I thought, you know, I had the cane and I had issues, and I thought, at the rate I'm going, I'm not even going to walk her down the aisle if she gets married, and I'll never see the grandkids. And same with my son. I thought, what am I doing to myself? You know, that was a big factor. So children and the prospects of weddings and grandchildren and that type of thing. And then probably my wife. She was always concerned that I was always very fit until in my 50s. She thought I would be dead and she'd be a widow. My mother and sister both died young. They had some weight issues and health issues. And I, at the time, was getting kind of nervous for myself, because I was 64 when I started, and I was basically gaining 5-10 pounds every year. Basically, I would kind of check my weight, and I just noticed it was just starting to creep up. And I was concerned that I was going to get so heavy that my life would come to an end, because I was experiencing health problems. I used to go to an arthritis specialist, a heart specialist. I was pre-diabetic. I had osteopenia, which is a bone density issue. I was tired all the time. I just had a multiplicity of things going on. And when you retire, you don't retire to visit doctors. And it seemed like my life was starting to get around doctor appointments and talking to people about what was wrong and comparing notes of what they found out and what's wrong with you. And, gee, I had this and you had this. And I'm thinking, is that retirement? You know, you don't want to retire just to talk about being sick. And that was a big influence. There were people in my family that had illnesses and died young, but I also looked at my friends. Lots of my friends from high school and college, many of them have died. It's kind of sad. I look at my Facebook sometimes, and it's almost like an obituary column at times, because somebody's announcing that so-and-so has passed, or I get a message in Messenger, so-and-so died. I look around and I meet people at the gym, and so many of them are having some issues. And I keep telling them that, you know, the fact they're in the gym doing something now will probably make it, slow it down, the problems they have, and they might get better, and to just keep with it, because it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. My particular journey at age 64, it took almost a full year, and I worked really, really hard on diet and exercise. It's not going to happen instantly. It's not going to happen in a week, 2 weeks, or a month. It's going to at least be a year or more. I had just turned, I think I was 64, and that's why the first day I went to the gym. And I basically have gone to the gym 5 to 6 days a week, usually for 2 hours, sometimes 3, since that time. And that was in 2009, and it's, 14 years later, I guess it would be, right? And going on the 15th year. And I've been very faithful to it. Weightlifting has been just very good for me, because it builds up strength, endurance. It certainly changes your body shape, because I know when I go to the gym, I always have people come up to me and say, "You look really great."
Met Andy probably about 12 years ago at the LA Fitness gym, working out there. Kind of like any other gym, as you go more and more often, you start to meet people, and Andy was one of those individuals that was there every day, kind of the same time that I was, and over the years kind of became good friends at the gym. As you go to a gym and try to figure out who you can kind of talk with, I think once you start meeting people, that kind of helps you show up more often, because the people that you work out with show up at the same time. You build those relationships. Andy we were able to have good banter back and forth, giving each other a hard time. I think creating a good friendship, kind of pushing each other a little bit more. He always had a good workout, was there a decent amount of time. To me, that's really inspiring to see someone that dedicates themselves so much to the gym and their health, and trying to make sure that they stay healthy. Far too often you see people who kind of let themselves go and just give up and don't try anymore. And it's just taking that one step at a time, that one day at a time, coming in and building upon that every day. And that's what Andy's done. We talk about it, workouts all the time, and he's showing me and always telling me how much he's progressed. But it's like looking from where you started at times to where you are now. It just takes time and that consistency, and he's definitely the epitome of that. And I strive to be that healthy when I hit his age.
And a lot of times what I see, and not all trainers are guilty of this, but they don't push the people because they're older. They give them some things to do. It's more for stretching and flexibility, because the concept for older people is to give you better mobility and flexibility. Where I believe that's important, I also wanted to have a better body, and so I've worked more on building muscle and that type of thing. And they say when you turn 50, every decade after that you lose 10% of your muscle. Well, I'm not sure I agree with that, because I think I'm almost more muscular now than I was when I was 50 and in better shape. And it looks more obvious because you can see it. So I think it depends on the individual. And perhaps I'm just unique, I don't know. I was fortunate that the right things happened at the right time. I think moving here to Bloomington, encountering certain people, it's like God put the right things in front of me right at the right time, and kind of made a big difference, because I've met the right people, got the right guidance, I had the right frame of mind, everything kind of fell into place.
Andy is a very consistent worker in our facility here at Carl Fitness and TPC. So just throughout his consistency, we've had the opportunity to build a friendship and a relationship. First and foremost, I think it's really difficult for most people to stay consistent because we all want to see results overnight when it actually is something that happens over time. And, it can be frustrating, it can be disappointing when you're working out and you're spending this amount of time in a gym that you're not seeing the goals or the gains that you would like to see come so quickly. It's a process, and it takes months and even years to reach your ultimate goals. And so I think people get really frustrated and disappointed and upset and realize, okay, well, maybe this is just not for me. When actually it is for everyone. It's just a matter of, again, it takes time. It's not overnight, it's over time when it comes to reaching your ultimate goals. So yeah, consistency is definitely the key. He takes it very seriously. Whatever his motivation is, whether it's for his overall health, so that he can improve his health numbers with his doctor, or maybe it's just aesthetics, looking good, feeling good, quality of life. Does it extend life? Well, that's kind of debatable. Obviously there's a lot of health issues that people have to kind of go back and forth with. But your quality of life, watching him move and bend and get up off the floor and stand up and walk and do this again and over again, those are things that actually in the aging process that slows down for us all. And watching him in his particular age still be able to do the things that he can do with this type of ease and mobility is definitely very inspirational for the rest of us here to say, okay, you know what, it does work. And here's living proof, and he's right in front of us to show that staying consistent and doing the work, there is quality of life when it comes to staying strong, staying flexible, dropping your body fat, for helping for mobility. So Andy has been an incredible inspiration and is right in front of us. He's walking proof that exercise does have many benefits as we age in our process.
And my feeling is that, and I'd like to get across to people sometime, is that if you do something, it is better than just sitting on the couch and having a bag of chips and a big thing of dip. If you just even get up and do things around the house, take walks around the block, join a gym and just do, something, you're going to be better off than the person who does absolutely nothing. Why I was able to achieve it, I'm not even sure, but I think I've come a long, long way, and I've had great success, and I feel great. But I also go to the gym 2 or 3 hours a day, and that's, how many people are willing to put that much time into going to someplace?
The first day I met Andy, I hadn't been to a gym in years. And I had seen Andy, and I walked over and started talking to him, because he was an older gentleman, and I thought, well, heck, if he can do this, I can do this. And we became friends right off the bat. He's very inspirational at keeping you focused on your goals. He's always there to help if you have any questions. When I first started, like everybody else, you want to kind of, after the first few days, you say, oh, well, this is killing me, it's hurting, because you're using muscles you haven't ever used before. And Andy was always there to keep pushing me to say, come on, I'll meet you there again tomorrow. Let's go again. And then sometimes, he motivated me so much that he would push me. We would meet at the gym at 8, work out till 10, sit in the hot tub, do the steam room sauna. We pretty much do that every day. We'd leave at 11, go get something to eat, and go back and do a second workout in the afternoon. He said, let's go do a second one. I said, okay. And so he's he's always there to help and motivate you. Very inspirational guy. If you're on the fence about deciding whether or not I want to go to the gym or stay home or go out and to bars, this and that, you probably ought to choose your health. Because, like I say, I'm 65 right now. I still don't take any medications, anything, and I don't think I'd be at the point where I'm at right now if I hadn't hooked up with Andy and had that workout partner. So if you're on the fence, find you a good workout partner. Somebody's going to be there that's going to motivate you every day, that's going to push you every day, inspire you, and jump right in there and keep going. I mean, you won't regret it.
I'm a teacher. I have been a teacher most of my life. Keeping records is a thing we do, and I think it's important to have records. And I keep them for so long, and then I do toss them. I have kept a few I have from the before, and I look at them and I think, boy, I really have developed, because, you know, I used to struggle with this, and now I have no trouble. For instance, I do ab crunches where you put your feet against the wall and you lift up your head and do kind of a crunch, and you kind of tighten your abdominals. And I used to have struggled to do 25 or 50 of those. Now I do 5 sets of 100. So I do 500 of them. And it doesn't seem to bother me. You know, I could do more. And so I've gotten to the flexibility. And somebody said, does your back hurt from all that? No, it's actually probably improved. Maybe I'm a numbers person, but I like doing high reps. Like if I do pec flies, yesterday I wanted to see how many I could do. I did 8 sets of 20. So I did like 160 of them. And it's 20 pounds on each side, and you take your arms and you bring them together and then twist them a little bit at the front. And I like to do lat pull downs, and I usually do 90 pounds and a set of 15 of those. I like to do rows. I usually do 90 pounds and do 50 of those. I like to do face pulls or skull crushers with cable exercises. I do 3 variety where I pull the cables towards my face, then I also bring them down, straight down, and split them out, and then I turn around and pull them from my back side to help my back muscles and shoulders. And I do those at 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 pounds, and sometimes 45, and do sets of 10. So that's a kind of a big kind of superset of exercises I do, and I usually do those after I do pec flies. And I only do 20 pounds because I've decided repetition, tensing up and doing some isometric, isotonic type techniques with it are just as beneficial as doing really heavy weights. So I'm doing not what I would call large weights. The maximum on the cable exercise is 40 and only 20 on the pec flies. However, if I go to do chest presses where you sit back and you're pushing the weights out, I've done up to 170 pounds on that, so I'll do a heavier weight on that. But most of the time I try to keep that at 150. Now for leg presses, I do that because you can't neglect your legs if you're going to do your upper body. And I usually start out at 360, then go to 450, then 540, and then I may add another 90, depends on the day and how I feel. But I do sets of, technically I guess it would be 30 at each of those weights, because I do 10 on toes, which helps your calves. Then I do 10 flat, which actually helps your whole leg. And then I do 10 on my heels. I also like the abductor and adductor, and it gives your inner thighs and your outer thighs. I do the rotary calf, which I usually do 100 of those at 100 pounds, and that helps your calves and strengthens the lower parts of your leg. I do shrugs with 50 pounds in each hand, and that helps your shoulders. I do dips, where you sit down and you're pressing the weights down. I usually do 30 to 35 at 90 pounds. Then I go up to 140 and do 15. And then I do 190, maybe 15 of those. But I also do double sets of those because I do them sitting forwards, and then I turn around and do them from the back side as well. Because like any exercises, you have to do them at different angles to help different parts of the muscle. Same with biceps. I do curls mainly for biceps, and I do 40, 50, and 60 pounds in sets of 10. And those are just a few things, but those are the ones I like. Plus, I'll take a break and then go walk the track. We have a really nice walking track at our gym. I try to make sure I have 8 to 10,000 steps in. So that's why my exercises take 2 to 3 hours, because an hour of it might be walking and 2 hours might be weights. Before I even start, I usually do a sauna for about 10 minutes, and I use some various kinds of ointments on my joints that helps to kind of make them a little more flexible. And then after the sauna, I get dressed, come out, and then I actually attack my workout. And then when I'm done, I also do the jacuzzi and let the jets kind of pulse against my muscles. And then I do the sauna again, because it helps to get some of that excess water weight from your body. And it also helps with your skin, and it is a multiplicity of other things. People don't realize a sauna can actually be good for your health if you do it the right way. And I only do it for maybe 10 minutes. Now, if you did it too long, you could probably hurt yourself, but it helps your heart rate and everything. So I tried to do a combination of relaxing things, walking, and weights all together. The hard part is, for most people, when they go to the gym, they only stay there for a few weeks. They have good intentions, but they don't stick with it. And for me, I'm not even sure exactly why I stuck with it, but I think it's because I lost a lot of weight initially. It was about 40 pounds. So I got down to about 175, and I looked halfway decent. And then I decided I needed to tone up a little bit, because that's why I went over to the weights and the machines. And it was surprising how many people will help you and give you tips and encourage you. But you can't wait for it to happen. You have to make it happen.